What's going on, guys? Wef here. As you can see by the title, this is just a quick little overview of Slayer. I'm going to start putting up some Slayer guides for different tasks, because a lot of people have been kind of every once in a while asking me how the best way to do different tasks are, and what gear you should be using, and what your inventory should look like, and where the best place to kill them is, and stuff like that. So I'm going to start trying to just get that out for pretty much every task in the game if I can. I feel most tasks I do know exactly where the best possible place to kill them is, and I've slayed in every way that you can think of. I've slayed in welfare gear, I've slayed doing Piety, I've slayed with a chaotic rapier and extremes in RS2. So I'm pretty knowledgeable about all the different ways that you can do Slayer. So this is just going to be a quick little overview. I'm not really doing anything. I might put some text on the screen just kind of showing you just so you can read along with what I'm saying. Why should you do Slayer is just the first topic I will cover. Slayer is a skill that gives you access to all of these monsters, all of this equipment, and it's just a really good skill. And it essentially, if you're using a Slayer helmet, it makes it so that it is probably overall the fastest way to train combat in the game, along with also getting up an additional skill, which increases your total levels. So, obviously, if you're going to be training combat, I think my recommendation for anybody would be to do it through Slayer. It's good money, it's extremely fast combat experience, it gives you free ranged experience because I'll go over that actually once I get to the cannon part. And it's also, you just get a lot of really cool rewards. There's a bunch of Slayer tasks you can do. It's good for PVM, because if you get certain tasks, it counts towards your Slayer task, and you can use a Slayer helm to speed up kills a lot, and even get on teams before, like, even if you don't have very good stats, you can still get on your team if you are if you're there. So anyway, the first thing that I need to cover is whether or not to use a cannon. I will be going over pretty much if a cannon is necessary or not for each individual task, but overall, it is very, 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 very important to have a cannon, and I will explain why. Slayer is the slowest skill in the game if you do not use a cannon. If you do use a cannon, it's probably the second or third slowest behind runecrafting and maybe mining. It's probably faster, or it's probably slower than mining, actually. So, it is a very slow skill. So, any time that you save with Slayer is absolutely huge. Using a cannon can double or even triple your experience per hour, which, do the math, if a task would normally take you 3 hours, and you can finish it in an hour with a cannon, that's 2 hours that you now have, and if you're doing something like killing wyverns, you will easily be able to make the money back for the cannonballs. If you're doing runecrafting, you'll easily be able to make back the money for the cannonballs. Even if you just go do a farm run, you'll probably make back the money for the cannonballs. So the cannonballs really don't cost very much considering how much time you save. And it also gives free ranged experience, so you don't have to actually go chinning or anything like that. So that's very, very, very important. If you really want to not use a cannon, I really, really wouldn't recommend it, especially for tasks in multi. There are some tasks that you can go ahead and not do with cannon, and I'll go over that when I get to specific monsters, but for the most part, you want to make sure that you have a cannon and a decent stockpile of cannonballs before you actually start doing Slayer. The next thing is Piety. Piety is a level 70 prayer, as you guys know, and it'll speed up your tasks by about 20% if you have it on, and it's like a task like Abyssal Demons where you're not using a cannon. So I would use it especially on tasks that you can't use a cannon for. If you don't want to use it on a task that you're cannoning, it really won't speed it up that much. It still helps, but you don't need to use Piety on every task. Also, if you really want to save the money and not spend money on prayer potions, you can flick it quite easily and use maybe one prayer potion a task if you want to pay that much attention to flicking. So, like, it all comes down to the time that you save is always worth it because of how slow the skill is. So I would recommend pretty much power slaying. You don't have to skip every task that doesn't give maximum XP an hour like, top page players do, but I would recommend at least trying to speed up Slayer in some way. Don't just go in there with no potions and no prayers and spend 4 hours on each task. It's no. If you're getting like 9k an hour, there's problems. So it just speeding it up definitely is recommended if you want to even be somewhat efficient at all. So anyway, I'm gonna go over just the general supplies and stuff that you're just gonna want to stockpile on if you're just starting Slayer. Cannonballs, I'd say 20,000 is like a good stockpile to have to start off with. At the early levels, cannoning everything is going to make you lose a lot of money. I'd say from 1 to 70, you'll probably be losing a bunch of money from this. But once you start getting into the higher tasks, you get a lot of rune drops, you get a lot of alkables. This is my tab just for placeholders for rune items that I get while on Slayer tasks. Like, you get a lot of stuff when you're doing Slayer, so you pretty much are always going to at least break even if you're power slaying. So, cannonballs, sorry. Yeah, that's the first thing you need. Next, you're going to want prayer potions and supersets. You can opt out of using a super strength if you have the dragon battle axe, because you can just use the super attack and super defense for the boosts, and then use the special attack from the dragon battle axe. That works perfectly fine. You're going to want to have some way to heal yourself. I recommend a Saradomin Godsword. If you can't afford it, full Guthans is good too. It's actually really not necessary completely. I would it makes Slayer a lot easier having one of those two. Saradomin Godsword beats the Guthan set, but it's really recommended to have one of those. It helps a lot. If not, you can just prayer flick, and I'll go over that again in the individual videos for Slayer tasks. Next, you're going to need Proselyte. I can't stress this enough. This is, in my opinion, the best armor in the game, and you'll be using it on a lot of Slayer tasks. And then for gear, for tasks that you're going to be just using Piety on and not protect from melee, the best is Bandos. I don't have Bandos. It's not completely necessary. A good setup for people who don't have a bunch of money is, where's my last item? This right here. This is pretty much the best that you can get for a decent amount of money. Varric Skirt and Proselyte Top, you've probably seen it a lot. It gives a good prayer bonus, good defense bonus, just it's good all around. This is what I wear to almost every Slayer task. You'll see in some of the videos I wear the Proselyte Legs instead. Those are for tasks that you're praying melee against. Then you want to use this to have maximum prayer bonus. But anything that you're just using Piety on, and then switching over to Guthans to heal, you'll want to wear this setup. Now, it'll take a little bit of getting used to if you don't have Guthans, but you can, if you don't want to prayer flick and you don't have Guthans, you can just bring a certain amount of prayer potions and bring some food along with it. You'd have to figure out the ratios depending on your levels and stuff, but you can do that and maybe make 2 trips every task. That would still be faster than not using prayer at all. But honestly, if you're going to do that, I would recommend having something like this, where you have maximizing your strength bonus and try to get a decent prayer bonus, and then just prayer flick your tasks. If you don't know how to prayer flick, then just look it up somewhere. I'm sure somebody will tell you. So that would be just my recommendations on gear. Optional stuff is like a Dragonfire Shield for dragon tasks. Never wear a Dragonfire Shield on regular tasks. I see it all the time. Use a Rune Defender on any task that isn't a dragon. There's absolutely no benefit to using a Dragonfire Shield on any of these tasks. And a Hasta is also pretty good. There are some tasks that a Hasta is better on, and dragon tasks are a lot easier with a Hasta. As far as using ranged for Slayer, I've seen it a couple times. If you have a blowpipe, actually, I haven't tested it, but a blowpipe would probably work just as well as melee. So if you do want to do Slayer with ranged, I would recommend getting a blowpipe and like Armadil. But other than that, you'll be getting ranged up through the cannon, so you really don't need to train ranged really at all. If I had been using a cannon ever since I started Slayer, I would probably have like 94 range, 92 Slayer. So using a cannon is pretty much where your main source of ranged experience should come from. So basically, that's all there is for the basic info, guys. It's really hard to cover stuff like this because there are so many specific examples once you start to get actually into the different Slayer tasks. But pretty much, you just want to have just decent melee gear, really. Fury can be swapped out for Glory and all that stuff. There's probably going to have been text over the screen just kind of showing the best gear that you should be trying to have. You want to have at least one piece of each gear that I have recommended, and just downgrade or upgrade wherever you see fit. And yeah, I will get back to you guys once I start to record other things. I'll try to get these out really often because I'm doing Slayer a lot, and making a guide for a Slayer task is quite easy. So I'm going to get to my Dark Beast task. That might be the first guide. So hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. And hopefully you guys enjoy doing some Slayer. Peace out.